Investors from Afghanistan and Uzbekistan have signed a commercial agreement worth $4.5 million. The Ministry of Industry and Commerce reports that investors from both countries have signed a memorandum of understanding for joint trade valued at $4.5 million. According to the ministry, this agreement was signed at the end of a meeting between investors from the two countries in Kabul. Ahmadullah Zaid, the Deputy Minister of Industry and Commerce, described the development of trade between Afghanistan and Uzbekistan as a positive step and stated that the economic relations between the two sides have made good progress. He called for a balance in exports and imports between the two countries and requested Uzbekistan to cooperate. World Food Programme, Drought has turned Afghanistan's villages into ghost towns. Xiaowei Li, head of the World Food Programme in Afghanistan, states that the villages in this country have become ghost towns due to drought. In a video he released, he explains the drought situation in Afghanistan and his observations that people have left their homes because of the drought and moved to other countries. He mentions that those who have remained in these areas are the most vulnerable because they have nowhere to go. Xiaowei Li notes that the World Food Programme is working to provide access to water and improve livelihoods for the people. According to United Nations reports, Afghanistan is one of the 10 countries most affected by climate change. Donald Trump, before returning to the White House, stated that the United States should buy Greenland to strengthen its economic security. Although this northern territory immediately responded that it is not for sale, its vast and largely untouched mineral resources have now attracted significant demand. As the motorboat navigates the choppy waters along the coast and through the stunning fjords at the southernmost point of Greenland, the gray, jagged peaks suddenly appear before us. Elder Olofsson, CEO of the mining company Americ Minerals, says, "Those tall, pointed mountains are actually a belt of gold." After 2 hours of boating, we disembark in a remote valley on the slopes of Mount Nalunaq, where the company is drilling for gold. Americ Minerals is also exploring the surrounding mountain ranges and valleys to find other valuable minerals. They have obtained exploration permits for an area covering more than 10,000 square kilometers. Olofsson, the Icelandic head of the company, states, "We are looking for copper, nickel, and rare earth elements. This area is untouched and may still have several massive mines within it." The company's base consists of a collection of mobile buildings and orange-colored tents that house over 100 employees, including Greenlanders, Australians, and former coal miners from Britain. From there, a road ascends from the valley, and we drive into a dark tunnel that leads into the mountain. Mr. Olofsson points to a layer of white quartz and a thin line, saying, "Look here, gold, gold, gold. All along this line. Isn't it amazing?" This mine, which Americ purchased in 2015, was active for most of the previous decade but was shut down due to falling gold prices and high operational costs. Americ is confident that this mine will now be profitable and plans to increase production this year. They have built a new processing plant to crush the ore and turn the precious metal into gold bars. Mr. Olofsson explains, "Instead of shipping 30,000 tons of ore, we could leave here every month with a suitcase full of gold." He states, "Greenland offers a unique opportunity because its vast mineral reserves remain largely untouched." He adds, "These reserves could supply all the minerals needed by the Western world for decades. This is truly a unique position." Caption: Mining facilities in Nalunaq. However, currently, there are only 2 active mines across the island. Greenland is a self-governing territory under Danish rule, which has control over its natural resources. This land has the 8th largest reserves of rare earth elements in the world, which are essential for making everything from mobile phones to batteries and motors. It also has significant amounts of other key metals like lithium and cobalt. Although oil and gas are also present in the region, new drilling is prohibited, and extraction in the deep sea is not conducted. Christian Kildson, director of the Greenland Business Association, says, "The current geopolitical situation in the world has increased attention on the largest island in the world." He points out that China has the largest reserves of rare earth metals globally, and the West is seeking alternative sources. He states, China has significant dominance over critical raw materials. This situation has led Western countries to pay more attention to accessing Greenland's mineral resources. China has also shown interest in this area, but its influence has remained limited. Reuters recently reported that the US pressured an Australian mining company not to sell the largest rare earth project in Greenland to potential Chinese buyers. Naja Nathanielsen, the Minister of Trade, Industry, and Raw Materials of Greenland, says that interest in the mineral resources of this land has certainly increased in the past 5 years. She adds, "We have become accustomed to being one of the focal points of the climate crisis. But we want to be part of the solution." Currently, licenses have been issued for 100 blocks across Greenland, where companies are seeking exploitable reserves. British, Canadian, and Australian mining companies hold the majority of licenses among foreign entities, while Americans hold only one license. However, there are still many steps to take before these locations become operational mines. Although Greenland sits on valuable mineral reserves, the process of extraction and exploitation remains slow. The economy of Greenland, with an annual GDP of just over $3 billion, is still dependent on the public sector and fishing. The region also relies on a $600 million annual subsidy from Denmark. Greenlandic politicians hope that mining revenues will reduce their dependence on Danish subsidies and strengthen efforts for independence. However, the reality is that Greenland currently earns more from tourism. Javier Arnaout, head of the Arctic Social Sciences Department at the University of Greenland, states that officially, the mining industry still plays an important role in Greenland's path to independence, but in practice, the number of licenses issued for mines is very low. Ms. Nathanielsen acknowledges that despite expanding collaborations with the United States and the European Union, there has still not been significant investment in this sector. She hopes that within the next decade, 3 to 5 more mines will become operational. However, due to the remote geography and climatic conditions, mining in Greenland is not easy. This island is the largest island in the world, with 80% covered by an ice sheet. The island also features rugged mountains, and there are no roads connecting the settlements. Jacob Kalov Kitting from the Geological Survey of Denmark and Greenland, which has mapped the resources of this region, says, "This is a polar land. We are facing harsh climatic conditions and limited infrastructure. For this reason, opening a mine is very expensive. High costs, combined with falling global metal prices, have made investors hesitant. Others also cite bureaucracy as a factor slowing the growth of the sector. This region has strict environmental regulations and commitments related to social impacts, and obtaining permits is time-consuming." Ms. Nathanielsen emphasizes that most communities support mining and believes that such activities strengthen local economies. She says, foreign miners shop at the local store, hire local staff, and rent local boats or helicopters. However, Heidi Mortensen Muller, a resident of the largest city in southern Greenland, is skeptical about the local job creation from new mines. She says, "When they say they create jobs, who are they talking about?" Jess Bertelsen, head of the local workers' union, says many believe that mining revenues will leave the region and will not benefit Greenland. However, he supports the growth of the sector and states, Greenland needs more income and must find ways to earn money beyond fishing. It is unclear what the latest actions by Trump regarding Greenland will result in. Mutig, the Prime Minister of Greenland, recently stated, "We need to trade with America," and emphasized that the doors are open in the mining sector. Mr. Kildson from the Business Association hopes that this approach will attract the much-needed investment to this sector. He says, on the other hand, if the uncertainty stemming from Trump's signals continues for a longer period, there is a risk that it will negatively impact the investment environment.